Hello folks, well this is Miguel from the Embargo Man channel. Now, what I am talking about back then in the beginning of my channel, I was doing something called the Save Little Joe movement, right? Save Little Joe movement is just going through going telling people just to go and be so pro-life, all right? So this has been a topic that I think that everyone should know. And I have seen some videos and I see some people's opinions and all of this. All right. So, what is this thing of abortion laws and what is it varies not just in the United States of America, but in various parts in various parts of various countries around the world, right? There's a solution to all of this. The solution to all of this is that there are so many ways. I mean, I guess to what I have seen, the choice that you make, especially women and even men and women. I'm talking about both sides. All right, boys and girls, men and women. I'm talking about both sides of the story. What I see and what I have shared, there have been some former doctors or former abortionists, or what I called, right? That they have just quit their jobs and they have seen so many. I mean, there are lots of videos of former abortionists or abortion procedures that you could find on YouTube. I'm not saying to go do it, but you'll see the procedures, and I will tell you to this. Educate yourselves. You mean education. I mean, when you educate children about this, education doesn't kill babies. Education might probably saves lives, all right? I mean, educating yourself and seeing there's other methods, and then there have some women that die from maternity death. I mean, and it goes both ways. It just goes both ways on this topic. And then what it is besides all this, who have all I have heard is about in the United States about Roe versus Wade. Roe is some woman that sent two of her daughters for adoption because she was thinking of the most unorthodox way to get rid of her children. You know, and I'm not saying unorthodox because this is like back then, or this is nothing new. So this has been for years and years and years and years and years about all these things, and various countries have different rules and different laws, not just on abortion. An example for that matter is the aviation safety. I mean, the aviation safety, as to, I could say, the body and member of aviation safety for people who are safe for air travel in the United States is the FAA. The FAA has made sure that everybody is flying safe in an commercial aircraft, on an airliner. So it is what the American standards of air safety. Mine is like, I'm just saying that it also protects. Boeing is one of the only manufacturers in the US now, because you don't have Mitsubishi nor probably Comac. The only competitor is a European rival, you know. I mean, through that stand, through making all this in safety reasons, what is approval by the FAA to be safe to fly? I'm just trying to compare the United States now with Japan. So, if a Boeing aircraft, it is approved to be safe to fly by the American FAA, then in Japan's Aviation Safety Administration, put it that way, that airplane that is approved by the FAA is not approved by the Japanese government. That means that you're flying in a faulty plane that is considered safe by American standards, but is not safe towards Japanese standards. That means you have a higher chance to ride in a plane that is approved by the FAA in the USA, that it would crash, crash and burn, and you'll die in a tragic airplane accident, is because just because it's proven by the FAA in the USA to be safe to fly, it's not proven in Japan to be safe to fly. That means you're flying, or what else you doing through Japanese safety standards. You're flying you're riding in that plane. You're playing Russian roulette. That's it. You're playing Russian roulette that anytime soon that plane is gonna crash down, just like the 737 MAX. If it's not approved by the Japanese government, but is approved by the American government, you're gonna die riding in that airplane. So that means the standards of Japan weighs more than the American safety standards. That's just an example to give you this thing about comparing, the safety standards from one country to another in aviation safety on air travel. So that's it. So when we go into this and this abortion thing, this has happened before Roe versus Wade. I mean, there were so many things back then that people call in, and they do some unsafe abortions, or they seek for a witch doctor or a witch, or a voodoo priest to say, okay, give me a miscarriage spell. A miscarriage spell, it is like you take some herbs that you could drink a potion for a miscarriage. I mean, that's the same thing. A miscarriage spell. So what it is that back then, they burn witches. I mean, they burn witches on fire, so that these witches or made miracles for some women, that I think okay, I need to see a witch. I need to see a witch doctor. I need to see a voodoo priest. I want some voodoo. I want to, it's like all this suddenly that the baby in the womb, they can sell, drink this potion, or let me do the spell on your belly and whatever, just for a miscarriage spell. And back then, in those days, the people who are against witches are like the pro-life supporters of that era. Says, burn the witch, burn the witch, burn all the witches. They burn all the witches because they doing some things of miscarriage to drink this potion for a miscarriage spell and whatnot. Or whatever it is, you are like in New Orleans or whatever. Some women has looked forward as the miracle doctors on the voodoo priest. Says, here we go. This is the voodoo doll. So this is the voodoo doll. This is your belly. Pay me some money. I want to do some of the miscarriage tests. This is a belly. This is your baby. Boom, 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 boom. You tap on the baby, and then you have a miscarriage spell, revealed. You have a miscarriage because of a voodoo priest pimping you on the stomach where the baby is at. Yeah, a miscarriage spell, right? You know, that was way before Roe versus Wade and some other various procedures. But nowadays, you have various countries having various rules on having various procedures to form an abortion, right? You have the pill. I mean, I have seen this. They have the pill. They might probably have an injection to inject a woman right there that it would lead poisoning on the umbilical cord. And that's going to be the next phase to say you have the shot, you have the miracle shot, the progressive shot. All you doing is feeding lead. You're feeding lead in the umbilical cord. The baby feeds the lead, the unborn baby feeds the lead. The baby gets poisoned. The fetus is dead because of lead, or because of lead poisoning. And no, this is a miracle. This is a process. Then the progressive shot, or whatever they might just call it, or the abortion shot, It is just feeding lead on a fetus in the umbilical cord so the baby could die inside the mother's womb, right? All of this has come through this conclusion that in order to stop or to order of this, and one thing that you could Google too, that even one country in particular has done a bunch of abortions, would be Russia. I mean, the US and the allies are war against Russia, but because of the Ukraine situation, but that has put it aside. But then we gotta put aside with this Roe versus Wade and the rest of the world and how they have the rules on this abortion stuff. So what it is that some of these countries that do have their own rules, or that they have rules that says we're going to put you in jail for killing an unborn child. Yes, I have seen the procedures, how they do it in clinical abortions is gruesome. But then there is also other ways to prevent them. I mean, the only countries in the world that I think that have been preventing lots of abortions, you gotta follow the way of the Orientals. Only 2 countries in the world that have been preventing a bunch of abortions would be Japan and South Korea. Why them? Why them? Why? Because they consider themselves, they don't want to have sex. They just don't want to have sex. Married couples, sexless lifestyles, and towards sex is where the reproduction system begins. A man and a woman, we all have our own desires. We want to desire somebody. We are all human beings, right? So it is not that hard, or I mean, it's a challenge that you will say that this is one way to prevent this kinds of incidents, no matter if it's Roe versus Wade to be lifted, or they freaking ban this technique. They're gonna ban abortion. But either way, it is that that people who decided not to have sex, that means this is a bunch of abortions being prevented. Why? Because besides the pills, they have some kind of people said, okay, there's people who have a bunch of blood clots because of the abortion pill and this and all these procedures all combined. What has made it through all this in abortion prevention is not having sex, right? So I could say something that this is all I could say, right? If you have been raped, I mean, if you have been raped or you are the rapist, what would be for that child to grown up in that womb? Would the child be the same as their biological father? No. All you hear it is bullshit. It is. It is a lie. Why? Because it is not the father that's going to be like that. It's going to be towards the child's guilt and says, oh, who's my daddy? Yeah, your biological, you know what, kid? Your biological father was an asshole or is an asshole. And then they will notice why their biological father is an asshole, but the kid seems to be nice and sweet and very kind. This is where I could say not all women decides to get abortions. There are other women that decides to give their child for adoption, and that's an alternative choice that I think that that is my idea to whatever these, no matter the country, could be in the United States or wherever, decides to, let's ban this. And these centers we call the alternative choice centers. The alternative choice centers is an idea that you could brought up, educate women and educate men, whatever, to educate, most likely women is going to come there, to educate what it is between the difference about the biological fathers of the kid or what the kid won't be, and believing all the lies and myths and the procedures they have done. And to educate means that if there's this alternative choice, you give the kids up, give them up for adoption, and then they have to do is study the parents that who are going to receive the kid, that there are the best candidates to take care of this abandoned, or let's say, abandoned child, or they say that the mother decides to, get rid of the kid, right? And then the kid's still alive, but they're gonna have new loving parents that they love them, and that is called the alternative choice. And this is not just to put in the United States. You could have it in every country in the world. So this could be like a non-profit thing. All I need is just help. I don't have any GoFundMe about this wonderful project and idea of mine. But also, I always think that not everybody or not all women think about getting rid of their babies by terminating a fetus. In the other aspects of people with moral values, that says this is killing a baby inside, and also have scientists to have a prevention of preventing maternity deaths when they're having a baby. That's about it. and I have to tell you this. Because it's even men too. You know what? And men and women, but especially men, that I'm gonna tell you that there's a solution to prevent abortions. Don't fuck. Why don't fuck? Because you're gonna fuck things up for the unborn kid, that if the woman decides to terminate that child, you know what it is. An abortion is in process. If you don't fuck, you are preventing an abortion. That's it. You are preventing an abortion. And it's not just to do this. If we all follows the trends of everybody else, they follow America's trend. We could follow, in the West, we could all follow the trend of the East. Most likely what have done in Japan and South Korea. Don't have sex, but not to the extreme to depopulate the depopulate the world. The form of depopulation, besides abortions, there's war, there's, people doing mass shootings or whatever. That's about it. Another form to say is to don't go to the extreme like they do, like the people in Japan and South Korea have done. Getting along, not to have sex because of you're not gonna bring a kid in this world. Whatever. No, you could bring a kid in this world. All you gotta do is when you have a date or when you're going out, you do anything else except for the wild thing. Everything except sex, right? Until you reach a certain area where there's marriage, you could conceive the child. That way, the woman don't decide of what she wants in her womb. That way, you prevent abortions, and we have or the thing is to have the lesser abortions totally if you do this kind of concept. This concept of what I call it a sexless lifestyle, or what is called abstinence, is what Japan and South Korea was doing. And this is the way, and the reason why there's a population declining is because the couples decide not to have sex at all. But they need to do it because, when a human being decides to have their desires, when you want it to be, this is what it is. This is not, but this is gonna go to heterosexuals, people like me, people like you who are straight. You want to be with a woman if you are a man. You want to be with a man. You want to feel intense and intimacy. You want to get intimate. It's okay. It's okay to get intimate, but then I'll challenge you to do what the people in Japan and South Korea do. Cool off with the sex. Because you're gonna cool off with the sex, have a relationship without sex until you get married, until you settle in that this is ready, we're ready, let's start a family, whatever. Me, for instance, if I were to do that, it's challenge. It's a challenge. Well, I have never have saying that I do like a big YouTuber in a romantic sense. I have been not noticing about this individual, but then this individual, I have seen she already wrote a book, and the decision to me would be, what is her choice of partnerships? This is something that I notice that I haven't known this person, even though I'm originally from New Jersey. If I known this person, even though my dad lives here in Colombia because I'm filming in Colombia, is that what I knew, if what I have seen that in one particular area. For example, this is just my situation, in my personal situation. If I could meet a person that I feel that I need to be loved, and without even reading about her, whatever, then I know this would be totally a different story. I might just be a father. I might love that person to death, and be very loyal to that person, and yet things could work well, and things could just change so much. It's a whole be different story. But now this is like the decision I would say is this. I know what it is. It is that not everybody choose to terminate a pregnancy. Not everybody choose that kind of choice. All right. So there's always an alternative choice. There's always this. There's always a chance to, if you want to have sex, wear a condom. I mean, a condom. Um, pregnancy pills, anti-pregnancy pills. I mean, that's just a choice. Or abstinence. I mean, if you want to follow the rules to copy what another country copies, copy what's happening in South Korea, copy what is happening in Japan. Even though abortion rules might differ from the country where you're at, but there is a way to prevent abortions. No sex, and if you don't go too extreme about it, but no sex until you want to live together for life, be your life partner, until you want to decide of marriage and you want to have moral values that says, I want to get married to this person, I want to have babies. That's it. We handle it. I'm sick and tired. Let's go. Let's get married. Let's screw. That's it. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. So I will make another interesting video about all this because it is your choice to do this. I'm not telling you about go do or don't make an abortion. I'm telling you that you have a choice. Study the YouTube videos of the abortion procedures, of different abortion procedures, various countries, and the decision of what you could do to copy to have a relationship with no sex, and what would you do to have the best way to do this, because other than that, you'll have an alternative, or you just choose. I'll make you do, like, the choice is yours. The choice is yours. Is my body too. It is my body. I am a man. I put on the seed. I plant the seed on the woman. Doesn't matter to who it is, but to me, I just saved it until the moment is right, because that seed is not going to be inserted in somebody whether she chooses or decide to kill it. I'm saving a life within the seed that I wanted to plant inside the woman's womb. The same thing is, this is like you planting a seed on somebody else, in somebody's backyard. Oh yeah, I don't want this tree, whatever. Boom, the individual pull out the tree and throw it away, right? So that's the same thing. So this is how you could see it in that way. But in my case, in my choice, it's your body, it's your choice, it's your mind, is that you educate yourselves. Watch these videos of abortion procedures. Watch these videos about if you decide to abort or not to abort, or to wear a condom, or see other ways to prevent pregnancies, or that you decide not to have sex in your relationship until the moment is right. So subscribe to the Embargo Man YouTube channel, and I'll see you in the next video. And for somebody that I know that this is my video, to a person that I think that I wanted to say about this, well, I know I have seen my own videos. I'm pulling it through and through, only to limit themselves to do. But I'm just doing this video, even though you don't follow me, Universal Man 09. Seeing about that is awesome to say. Okay, we don't have no 300-page phone book and whatever it is. I have feelings. I know. You have feelings. You know. And this is where I could have a stand. It is my choice to decide, and is whatever it is, because the concept I want to do is for the better. This is to educate people. So please subscribe and see you on the next video, because I might talk either one of these subjects. One might be for a game, one more would be for a decision making of my own life. And I am talking about love life. Goodbye.